Hi everyone, I'm Ankur Verma, Practice Director with Everest Group focused on life sciences and healthcare research. Today I have an analyst from the life sciences team to share some insights on the pharmacovigilance market. Hey Gokul, thank you for joining in.
Hi, Ankur. Thank you for having me.
So Gokul, you and I have been talking about this huge market in terms of spend. Uh, Enterprises, both pharma and medtech, spend over $19 billion every year on their pharmacovigilance operations, right? And we are seeing increasingly these enterprises looking out for third-party support for managing their PV operations, right? And across the entire value chain, whether it's ADR intake, case processing, reporting, signal detection, etc., right? So we want to understand, Gokul, that what are the key challenges that you think these enterprises are facing, which is driving the growth in the BPS market?
Sure, Ankur. The key challenges faced by life sciences enterprises today are the rising number of adverse events, which have been growing exponentially over the past decade, and that is both for the biopharma as well as the medical devices. It is further expected to grow as regulatory bodies such as FDA have increased their post-marketing surveillance. Further, the regulations such as varying formats and frequency of data collection across different geographies have further increased the trend. So what we have explained this in detail in our report, and the report is attached in the link below.
Sure, sure. And Gokul, what do you think are some of the ways in which these enterprises are tackling those challenges, right? So definitely they are looking out for third-party support, but what are the areas where these enterprises are focusing on from looking out for third-party support?
So what we are seeing basically is that the enterprises have started adopting technology solutions that can automate process across the PV value chain. So we have seen three key observations across the market. Firstly, the enterprises have started adopting real world evidence and social media into the mainstream. And we are seeing increasingly the adoption of real world evidence, particularly in submission of PSURs. With social media, enterprises are increasingly using online channels to create awareness about diseases and their treatments, and clinical trial enrollments, patient support programs, etc. And I think social media also helps them to shift from traditional channels to more patient-centric approaches. Secondly, there has been a transformation to smart case processing of individual case safety reports. They've started reorganizing their safety and risk management programs to proactively identify and predict safety signals and evaluating the risk of post-market medicines. And thirdly, we're also seeing technology innovations across the board. Enterprises are trying to be proactive in their risk identification strategies. We are also seeing adoption of big data analytics, AI, cloud, and for that matter, even mobile applications to reduce the average detection time.
Sure, sure. And thanks for sharing this pointers, Gokul. So, Gokul, we talked about the buyer market, right? We talked about what enterprises are doing, what are the challenges that they are facing, and how they're tackling those challenges. Now, let's also talk about these service providers. So, in your opinion, and you interact with over 50 service providers every year across the entire pharmacovigilance value chain, right? So, in your opinion, how are service providers reacting to some of these trends in the buyer market, right? What are the opportunities that they believe are available in the market and how they're investing to capture those opportunities?
Sure, Ankur. What we are seeing is that the enterprises are increasingly adopting point solutions for effective PV processing, as they do not have the technological expertise to build them in-house. And for a multitude of other factors, we are seeing an increasing outsourcing that is happening across the market. Third-party providers offer technological solutions and also offer a balanced delivery mix of onshore and offshore across the globe, and as such provide the right outsourcing partners for these enterprises. So in our report, we have classified the third-party providers into three major categories. One is IT BPOs, then the CROs, and the specialists. Each of them differs by their varying breadth and depth of capabilities across the PV value chain. So we'll be further doing a deep dive to compare these service providers offering PV services to cater to some of the benchmark and demands that we are getting from the enterprises. But again, I would like to highlight two to three major opportunities for service providers in this market. Firstly, enterprises are no longer apprehensive about outsourcing. Traditionally, there were concerns about productivity, data integrity, but a lot has changed now. Quite an quite a lot of first-time buyers, particularly the small and mid-sized ones, are showing increasing increasing affinity towards outsourcing. This is going to be a huge market for the service providers as they can provide customized offering to tap to this huge pool of biopharma and medical device companies. Secondly, the enterprises need to free up internal resources for value-added PV activities. This factor combined with the cost efficiencies in offshoring has widened the opportunities for service providers. Thirdly, technology is no longer an enabler in the PV operations space. What we are seeing is that the clients are getting more educated about technologies such as process mining, NLP, etc., that can bring a transformational change to their existing systems. So service providers need to invest in these capabilities to provide a niche offering to the market.
Sure. So Gokul, I think these are some really interesting nuggets. I do believe that with the A volumes increasing and with life sciences companies focusing on streamlining and improving the efficiency of their PV operations, outsourcing of PV is likely to increase further, and that creates multitude of opportunities for service providers. So thank you, Gokul, for joining and sharing your perspectives. I'm sure that the report which you plan to publish in in June next year will bring out more insights as you talk to more and more enterprise and service providers. I for one can't wait to see how this market evolves. Thank you for those who are watching. The detailed analysis is present in our viewpoint given in the video description. For more details, feel free to reach out to Gokul or me. Thank you.